So we will call RCDC meeting to order at 5:44, looks like. Roll call, Colin Harvey here.
Emily Dorn here.
Bobby Hempling here.
Pat Sheehan here.
Okay, open it up for any public comments. Anybody here online? No. On the consent agenda, discussion and possible action on the minutes for the March 4th, 2024 RCDC meeting. Anybody have any? And then,
You can do it all as one consent agenda.
what's that?
I'm sorry. You can do it all as one consent. You can do one motion for approving all of it if you choose.
Oh, okay. Then motion to approve the meeting minutes for the March 4th RCDC meeting as well as the Rollingwood Commercial Exchange.
So
Second.
move that we adopt the minutes.
Second.
What's that? All right. All in favor say
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right. So I think as we move to the regular agenda, I think number 4 and 5 are kind of the same thing, which is kind of a debrief from that commercial exchange. And just open that up for conversation. I think one in general, I think it went really well. We had a lot of the right people there. Learned a decent amount.
You had the one that you were,
Yeah, we had the one that we wanted to
Correct.
be there, but I thought it was also great. We had the guys that from the Palisades there, a couple other people to give us just some general feedback on what we wanted to do, which is start to engage with them and figure out ways to move things forward. Those are my thoughts. Emily, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I think everyone felt very welcomed and open to talk about potential ideas, but also understanding that there's some parameters around it, and they want to work with us. So I thought it was very positive.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I was reading Kevin's newsletter today,
Mm-hmm.
and I never had really thought about it, but I thought it was very interesting that the height limits on the south side of BK's Road is 45 feet, and the height limits on the north side of BK's Road is 30 feet. If it was 45 feet, we would collect more sales tax.
yeah, but you'd have a riot.
Well, I'm just saying, it doesn't really seem fair that we be selective when it's 30 feet on the south side, on the north side of BK's Road, and then the city itself is 35 feet. At least give the north side of BK's Road 35 feet. I mean, why are we punishing the commercial people
Yeah.
when in the city of Rollingwood, hell, we're building 45-foot houses?
Yeah.
I mean, you bring up a very
Where
valid
they
point.
measure. That's my comment.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I think that is something that we should talk about for a second, and I think we potentially have a really good opportunity because a bunch of things are coming together at just the right time.
Yeah.
One, I also think we don't really even know the art of the possible of what we're upset with. Like, just I'm going to make something up for just a second.
Sure.
But if let's say they came in and said, hey, we're going to redo the whole Chinatown area, and for it to be viable for us, we really need it to be 35 feet, but we're going to cut your impervious cover from that parking lot down by 50%. We're going to have green space on the top of the building so that it's not looking like you're looking at just a building. I mean,
Yeah.
all kinds of interesting, different things that we've not seen yet.
What about just pushing out away from the back? Why is that never? I mean, I realize that TxDOT's probably
That
going to
has
come in
been
at some point. I'm sorry?
It's been considered.
Just allowing them to push
That's
forward is.
That's actually part of
That is part of it.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah. Setbacks. Setbacks.
Yeah, it lowers that setback for
Yeah.
the paper.
Anyway, it just seemed really strange.
Yeah.
Somebody picked 30 feet.
I mean, at one point in time, Chinatown was looking at having their building up front and the parking
In the back.
lot
Yeah.
in the back, which I think would probably be more palatable for
A lot of people.
some people.
Some. Good point.
Yeah. Some
Yeah. Well,
What makes it harder for us
to do what we
generate what we're looking for is more sales tax revenue for
Yes.
Yeah.
And
City
I-
of Rollingwood and RCDC.
I talked to a guy who's, albeit it's not a commercial developer, but he's in the real estate business and one of our neighbors. And, he made the point of saying that you know, it's gonna be really, really hard for it to make sense
Yeah.
monetarily with the parameters that are in place, almost to the point of
You were just beating our head against the
we're
wall.
beating our heads against the wall potentially.
Well, and so I think that's where we need to start, you know, thinking a little bit, because if you think about the fact that, so we kind of have two situations. There's like getting something done and then getting, you know, everything done over time, hopefully, right?
Yeah.
And if we can't get a deal done with Chinatown, we're not gonna get a deal done anywhere.
Right.
And right now, it just so happens we've got the comprehensive plan being translated into code. At the same time, a developer wants to do something creative and in partnership with us on that site. I mean, I think in my mind, nothing makes for a better, you know, way of making sure we've got the right type of ordinances in place than to use a real life project to help do that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something I would like to. I don't know the right, Phil. You can, you know, maybe, you know, provide guidance if you want to on how to bring that topic to city council. As like, how do we bring that together? Because if we get that done, then because the problem with the rest of those, with the exception of the Palisades, the rest of those lots is you're gonna have to buy multiple different lots, put them together to do anything meaningful, and no one's gonna take that kind of risk until they've seen something.
Yeah.
Well, you've got the hospital track too.
That good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got a big track there.
That's true. But we have
We
no.
gotta show progress
Yeah.
with something.
With
That
something.
closed hospital, you mean?
Sort of close.
And
I think it's-
and the other thing that really, you know, gets my attention up, especially from that meeting and just thinking about how to get something done, is in my mind it's not just about the tax revenue. At some point it's about a dilapidated side of the street that doesn't match,
Yeah.
you know,
Yep.
revenue. There will be a negative interplay at some point. It's not going to be this in the next 2 years, but it will be in the next 10.
Yeah.
And so it's both of those things.
Well, you also, you'd have more commercial services there that would probably appeal to the residents of the area, more so than what's there today,
Yeah, I think that's fair.
with a higher end commercial development.
So.
Anyway,
But so I think sounds like we all kind of have agree that those are all valid points. The question is,
You want me
What's
to
the next
speak in?
step?
yeah, no, I'd love you to.
Yeah,
I'd
Phil,
love you to.
come speak.
Phil McDuffie. All I can say, well, for one thing, being on the city council, you are somewhat limited as to what conversations you can have with other council members when you're not in front of on the dais. But I can say that all the points that you're bringing up and all the concerns that you have, I have thought of too and have discussed with various council members. So there's, like, these things are not invisible to us either. I mean, we're considering all these things as well, but it is a balancing act. There's the balancing of preserving and protecting the residential area and getting new development, getting things that are better, and much in the same way that the current residential code is being reviewed and looked at, the commercial code was looked and reviewed for, multiple years by a committee, and this is what they're bringing forward after all of that due process. The other thing is, as with government, anything can change at any time. So just because something gets codified doesn't mean that, if there's something compelling and something that fits and something that the community wants, and the right people get, all the wheels get turned in the right way, then things can change. So, but I think you're looking at the right things, which is people want more services, better services. To your point, not a disconnect between what's in the residential and what's in our commercial, or that section of our commercial, all of those type of things. When that will get done and how that will get done will come down to, the city and developers working together to put, to create something that is palatable on both sides. So there's a balance.
But what's the next step though? It's like, okay, we have a developer who is interested. We have a city council who's looking at the comprehensive plan right now.
The ordinances are still wet paint. They're informed by a framework, but
Correct.
they're not.
Right.
So
Right.
do you go to the developer and say, what would it take to make this viable to you? And he's going to go, well, I'm just making this up. I need 45 feet on the back end, and it's got to have, hotel space or whatever it is. And, well, that's not going to work. So what's the minimum you can do? And he goes, I'll leave it the way it is,
Yeah.
which is,
Sad.
Agreed, but I mean, all I heard at that meeting was they wanted to do something similar to Lauren. Quite frankly, I don't think that's palatable to the community right now. So right now, to some degree, at least for that development, what I'm hearing so far is there's, we're at an impasse. But
Yeah, I don't think that's what he said. I think he said nowhere near the size and scale of the Lauren. I think he was just saying the quality of some of our projects is X. I think that's all he said, which is important. So, but back to the sort of that next step. Again, it's not. We shouldn't be looking at this. I don't believe in terms of well, let's just kind of see what happens. It's like no, the guy's here and wants to do something. We're teed up trying to finalize this stuff. How can we be helpful to council to make it? I don't know that council's talking about it in terms of do you realize if we don't figure something out, this whole thing is going to look terrible for the next 20 years.
So I have an idea.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's you, Phil. I'm just saying.
Harebrained idea. Could we take right now the code and sort of the proposed wet paint code of where we stand and lay it on top of the proposed plan from the developer and just see where, redline it and see where there needs to be give.
Yeah.
And then bringing that back to council is like, here's a real life example that we're trying to work on, right? I think it's hard to talk about it in the what ifs, but if we have a real plan that
so far I haven't heard a plan
exactly.
from the developer.
No, I think that's fair.
Oh no, that's very fair.
So I think if we can get the actual plans or what, the
well, he
vision
doesn't have one, right?
well,
I mean,
From
they
what I
came to that meeting the other day and said, hey, this is cool.
from what I understand is there's a plan in here and it just needs to be like translated on paper. And I'm forgetting his name.
All right, I have it in my notes.
I know.
Um,
He has my card. I've not heard from him yet, but I think we have retail coach reach back out and say we want to sit down and have a conversation, take the code of where it stands now, get it with what a potential plan would, and let's just see.
See what it is,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's the most logical next step.
well,
Knowing that there's going to be some hurdles.
Change.
Yeah, and things we're going to have to talk through.
well, I get, and let me, and I don't, Phil, this might just be an education thing for me. Is there a similar concept that we have as it relates to residential with the Board of Adjustment that allows us to, like, in general, we don't want things that are 45 feet tall on this side because it's right next to our neighborhood, and in general, that's going to be true. But we have the ability for a certain project that everybody got comfortable around to, be approved via adjustment, or does that work differently in commercial?
I don't know. I'm not the liaison to Board of Adjustment. I would assume Board of Adjustment. Does
Meg-
Board of Adjustment deal with commercial as well?
And
Meg-
Megan,
They would deal with that, or there would be the option to rezone to a PUD.
Right.
yeah. Yeah, to do a PUD, that's what you'd
Yes.
have to do, probably,
Yes.
and see.
Okay. So,
there's options.
options.
There's options. That's I just literally didn't know.
I mean, I think that's what we do.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it is incumbent upon them to, stop saying what we won't do without putting something down and then working through it. I mean,
Yeah.
we can't work through something hypothetical.
Exactly.
Correct.
Okay. I think that's great. Thank you very much, Phil.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay. I think sort of covered number
Six,
six. I think we understand where that is, which brings us.
I guess the only thing I was gonna say for number 6 is like, Ashley, is there anything specific from the city side of like next steps or kind of where we stand in the process of
Yeah, so city council, so
CRCRC?
P&Z, so CRCRC is residential, so that's
Correct.
like the other one that's also running parallel, but this is the commercial one. P&Z has already made their recommendation. They recommended to approve the draft with some slight modifications to some of the lighting language. So that is going to city council. Their first meeting is next week on Wednesday, and then they have 2 special meetings scheduled. There is a chance they could approve it next week if they didn't
This
need
week.
I'm sorry, so next week is the first one.
Next
So
week is
it's a special meeting next week.
Oh, the special meeting.
Yeah,
But
yes,
we
they'll
are-
also meet
But
this
we're
week.
talking about lighting Wednesday. It's on the agenda. I thought, unless it I don't know, I was going through several agendas, maybe not.
Yeah.
Well,
Possibly,
Sorry,
but
sorry.
yeah, no worries. So there's the earliest they could approve it would be on the 22nd, which is not this Wednesday, but the following Wednesday. Likely they will talk it through, have some possible small changes. We'll go back and make those changes, and it will get, then re-reviewed on the 29th.
And is the most updated document in the council packet? It's
It is not, because that agenda has not been posted yet, but
Okay.
it's on our website. So I can send out a link to everybody if that
Okay.
would be helpful to where we're storing that on the website. And you can also find it in the last 2 Planning and Zoning Commission
Okay, I
meetings.
can
They've
just
reviewed it
Different
there.
than the
Okay.
doc that you had sent.
Yeah, the agenda will be posted on Friday. So
Okay.
we'll pull everything.
got
that
it.
came
It'll post
from
on
P&Z.
Friday. Okay.
Mhm.
It's eye
Okay.
watering.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Sounds good. Bobby, do you have anything on financials?
It's kind of steady as she goes. We have $620,000 in cash. Nothing was spent last month. We're ahead of schedule on taxes. So we had 17,000 in taxes collected last month. So everything's just keeps kind of adding up.
Awesome. Cool. We talked about incentives, so we can do something.
Yeah, we should. I mean, we have the financial ability to do
Yeah.
something. And it's nice that we're not nickel and diming it out to where we don't have something when it's needed.
Yeah.
So
Agreed. Anybody have anything else?
Mm-mm.
Motion to adjourn the meeting?
I so move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Thanks everyone.
Thank y'all.
Yeah.
Thank you, Phil.
So